Have you ever stopped and asked yourself a simple but unsettling question? If one day this life ends, what does it truly mean to have lived well? Most people spend years chasing goals, solving problems, and preparing for a future that never seems to arrive. Yet time moves quietly in the background. Days become years, and years become a lifetime. One day we may look back and realize that we were so busy surviving that we forgot to truly live. Before searching for the meaning of life, perhaps we should ask something closer to the heart. While this precious life is here, are we fully present for it? Many people carry a feeling they rarely talk about. It is not always sadness. It is not always anxiety. Sometimes it appears as a quiet emptiness that follows them through ordinary days. You may have a job, a home, people who care about you, and responsibilities that keep you busy. From the outside, your life seems complete. Yet, in certain moments late at night, during a long drive, or while sitting in a crowded room, a strange question arises. Why do I still feel something is missing? The unsettling part is that you cannot clearly explain what is wrong. Nothing dramatic has happened. Life may even be going reasonably well. But deep inside, there is a small distance between you and your own experience, as if you are watching your life instead of truly living it. Many people try to escape this feeling by becoming busier. They fill their schedules, chase new goals, scroll endlessly through their phones, or search for the next achievement. For a while, the distraction works, but when the noise fades, the feeling quietly returns. According to Buddhist wisdom, this experience is far more common than most people realize. It is not a personal failure. It is part of the human condition itself. And before we can understand how to live fully, we must first have the courage to look honestly at this silent dissatisfaction that so many hearts carry every day. More than 2500 years ago, a prince named Siddhartha Gautama seemed to have everything a person could desire. He lived in comfort, surrounded by wealth, security, and privilege. From the outside, his life appeared complete, yet deep within, he felt the same restlessness that many people experience today. He began to notice things that could not be ignored: aging, sickness, and death. He saw that no amount of wealth could stop time. No relationship could last forever. No success could protect a person from loss. The world offered countless pleasures, but none could provide lasting peace. Most people try to silence these questions and continue with their routines. Siddhartha chose a different path. Instead of running from his discomfort, he followed it. He left behind everything familiar and began searching for the truth about human suffering. After years of seeking, he discovered a profound insight. The deepest problem of life is not that things change. The problem is that we expect them not to. This realization would later become the foundation of Buddhism and a guide for millions seeking peace in an uncertain world. If you have ever felt that life must contain something deeper than endless chasing, take a moment and comment one below. It is a small way of saying I am ready to look beyond the surface and understand life more clearly. The Buddha used the word dukkha to describe a truth that touches every human life. It is often translated as suffering, but its meaning is deeper than physical pain or obvious hardship. Dukkha is the subtle feeling that something never stays exactly the way we want it to. Even during happy moments, a quiet unease can remain beneath the surface. We fear losing what we love. We worry about what might happen tomorrow. We sense that the things we depend on are not as stable as they seem. Why does this happen? Because everything in life is changing. The Buddha called this anicca, or impermanence. Your body changes year by year. Relationships evolve. Emotions come and go. Success rises and falls. Even the thoughts you are having right now will not remain the same by tomorrow. This is not a philosophical idea that requires blind belief. It is something we can observe every day. Look at old photographs. Remember people who once played a major role in your life. Think about how different your mind is from a few years ago. Change is happening everywhere. The difficulty begins when we expect permanence in a world built upon change. We want youth to last, loved ones to stay forever, and pleasant moments never to end. But life continues moving, and when reality refuses to obey our wishes, suffering appears. The Buddha's insight was simple, yet profound. Much of our pain comes not from change itself, but from resisting the fact that change is the nature of all things. When many people hear the truth of impermanence, they misunderstand it. They assume Buddhism teaches that nothing matters, that we should stop caring, stop loving, or withdraw from life altogether. But the Buddha never taught indifference. He did not tell people to abandon their families, ignore their responsibilities, or reject the beauty of ordinary life. In fact, he spoke often about kindness, gratitude, honest work, friendship, and compassion. These things matter deeply. The misunderstanding comes from confusing attachment with love. Attachment says, "This must stay exactly as it is, or I cannot be happy." Love says, "I cherish this while it is here." Attachment tries to possess. Love learns to appreciate. Imagine holding a beautiful flower. If you squeeze it tightly, afraid of losing it, you crush the very thing you wish to keep. But if you hold it gently, you can enjoy its beauty while it blooms. The Buddha's teaching is not about caring less. It is about caring more wisely. It is about loving people without trying to own them, enjoying good moments without demanding that they last forever, and appreciating life without fighting against its changing nature. True wisdom is not turning away from life. It is opening your heart to life while understanding that everything you experience is precious, precisely because it is temporary. Yet there is another truth we must face. Even though our daily lives matter, they are not permanent. The people we love will change. The roles we identify with will change. Our health, appearance, possessions, and achievements will all eventually pass through our hands like water through open fingers. This can sound depressing at first, but the Buddha saw it differently. Imagine watching a sunset. Part of its beauty comes from knowing it will not last. If the sun remained frozen in the sky forever, we might stop noticing it altogether. Its temporary nature is what makes it precious. Life is much the same. Because our time is limited, every conversation matters. Every act of kindness matters. Every opportunity to love, forgive, or help another person matters. The problem begins when we build our entire sense of happiness on things that cannot remain unchanged. When our peace depends completely on money, status, relationships, or circumstances, life becomes a constant struggle. Sooner or later, change arrives, and we feel as though the ground beneath us has disappeared. The Buddha did not ask us to reject the world. He simply encouraged us not to expect lasting security from what is naturally unstable. Enjoy the good moments. Care for the people around you. Work honestly and wholeheartedly. But remember that everything you experience is part of a flowing river, not a permanent possession. When this understanding grows, gratitude begins to replace entitlement. We stop asking life to guarantee permanence and start appreciating each moment as the gift that it already is. Paradoxically, it is only when we stop trying to hold life forever that we can finally embrace it fully. If everything in ordinary life is changing, does that mean true peace is impossible? The Buddha's answer was no. He taught that beyond the constant rise and fall of circumstances, there is a deeper kind of peace available to every human being. This peace does not depend on wealth, success, praise, youth, or even favorable conditions. It comes from understanding reality so clearly that the heart no longer fights against it. In Buddhism, this deeper freedom is called nirvana. Many people imagine nirvana as a distant place or a mystical reward reached only by saints. But the Buddha described it in a much more practical way. Nirvana is the cooling of the fires that burn within us, craving hatred and delusion. Think about how much suffering comes from constantly wanting life to be different from what it is. We want more. We want less. We want people to change. We want the past back. We want the future to arrive faster. The mind spends so much energy resisting reality that it rarely experiences peace. Nirvana begins when that struggle starts to dissolve. It is not the absence of life. It is the absence of inner conflict with life. The world may still change. Challenges may still appear. But a person who sees clearly is no longer thrown around by every wave. Like a mountain standing above passing clouds, their peace comes from something deeper than temporary conditions. This is why the Buddha's path is ultimately not about escaping life, but about discovering a freedom that cannot be taken away by life's constant changes. Understanding these truths is inspiring, but the Buddha did not stop at philosophy. He offered a practical path for anyone who wishes to move from suffering toward peace. This path is known as the Noble Eightfold Path. Rather than a list of rules, it is a way of living that gradually transforms how we see, think, speak, and act. It begins with right view, seeing life clearly, especially the realities of impermanence and suffering. When we understand that everything changes, we stop demanding permanence from an impermanent world. Next comes right intention, choosing thoughts rooted in kindness, compassion, and wisdom, rather than greed, anger, or resentment. The path then extends into daily life through right speech, right action, and right livelihood. The Buddha taught that our words, actions, and work should reduce harm and increase goodness, both for ourselves and for others. But understanding alone is not enough. We must also train the mind. This is where right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration become essential. These practices help us recognize harmful mental habits, return to the present moment, and cultivate inner stability. What makes the Eightfold Path so remarkable is its simplicity. It does not require withdrawing from society or waiting for perfect conditions. It can be practiced while raising a family, working a job, caring for loved ones, or facing life's challenges. Each mindful breath, each kind word, each moment of honesty becomes part of the path. The Buddha's message is both humble and profound. Lasting peace is not found by controlling the world around us. It is cultivated step by step through the way we meet each moment, and every step taken with awareness is already a step toward freedom. Even with the guidance of the Noble Eightfold Path, many people still wonder why the journey can feel so difficult. The reason is simple. The mind has spent years, sometimes decades, following habits of craving, fear, and attachment. We may understand the teachings intellectually, yet still find ourselves worrying about the future, replaying the past, or chasing things we believe will finally make us happy. The Buddha compared this process to waking from a long dream. At first, we continue to see life through old patterns. We react automatically. We cling to praise and fear criticism. We hold tightly to what we like and push away what we dislike. But each moment of awareness weakens these habits. When you notice anger before speaking, wisdom has already appeared. When you recognize attachment before it turns into suffering, understanding has already begun. When you return your attention to the present instead of getting lost in endless thoughts, you are already walking the path. Spiritual growth is rarely dramatic. Most of the time it happens quietly. It appears in greater patience, deeper compassion, and a growing ability to remain calm when life does not go according to plan. This is why the Buddha encouraged steady practice rather than quick results. Freedom is not created in a single moment. It is cultivated through countless small moments of awareness. Little by little, the mind becomes lighter. The grip of fear loosens. The need to control everything begins to fade. And in that space, a deeper sense of peace gradually emerges, not because life has become perfect, but because you are learning to meet it with wisdom instead of resistance. As we come to the end of this reflection, perhaps the most important lesson is surprisingly simple. Life was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to be lived. The Buddha did not promise a world without change, loss, or uncertainty. Instead, he showed a way to meet these realities with wisdom rather than fear. The more we resist life, the more we suffer. The more we learn to understand and accept its nature, the more peace begins to emerge. This does not mean giving up on our dreams, relationships, or responsibilities. It means holding them with gentle hands instead of clenched fists. Love fully, but do not cling. Work sincerely, but do not build your identity around success or failure. Appreciate each moment without demanding that it last forever. One day, every one of us will reach the end of our journey. At that moment, what will matter most is not how much we owned, achieved, or controlled. The deeper question will be, did we truly live? Did we truly love? Were we fully present for the life that was given to us? The Buddha's invitation is not complicated. Wake up to this moment, see clearly, act with compassion, let go of what cannot be held. And perhaps that is what it means to live fully before life ends. Not to possess more of life, but to meet each day with an open heart, a clear mind, and the courage to let go when the time comes. At this point, a question naturally arises. If life is constantly changing, how can we live without being overwhelmed by it? The Buddha's answer was not to escape the world, but to train the mind. This is why he taught the Noble Eightfold Path, a practical guide for transforming suffering into wisdom. The path begins with right view, seeing reality clearly, especially the truths of impermanence and suffering. From this understanding grows right intention, the choice to cultivate kindness, compassion, and non-attachment. The Buddha then brought these principles into daily life through right speech, right action, and right livelihood. The way we speak, behave, and earn a living shapes both our character and our peace of mind. But wisdom must also be practiced internally. Through right effort, we learn to abandon harmful habits and nurture wholesome ones. Through right mindfulness, we become aware of our thoughts, emotions, and actions instead of being controlled by them. Through right concentration, the mind becomes steady, clear, and less easily disturbed by life's ups and downs. What makes this path so powerful is that it can be practiced anywhere. Every mindful breath, every compassionate choice, every moment of honesty becomes part of the journey. The Buddha taught that freedom is not found in some distant future. It is cultivated step by step, moment by moment. And each step taken with awareness brings us closer to a peace that does not depend on circumstances, but arises from within. When we look deeply into everything the Buddha taught, a remarkable truth begins to emerge. The purpose of the path is not simply to become calmer, happier, or more successful. Those may arise along the way, but they are not the final destination. The deeper aim is freedom. Freedom from being controlled by every desire that appears in the mind. Freedom from being trapped by fear whenever life changes. Freedom from the endless cycle of chasing what we want and resisting what we do not want. Most people spend their lives searching for security in things that cannot remain. They seek permanent happiness in possessions, relationships, achievements, reputation, or circumstances. Yet sooner or later, every external condition changes. What is gained can be lost. What is built can fall apart. What is loved can pass away. The Buddha did not point this out to make us pessimistic. He pointed it out because true peace cannot be built upon something unstable. This is why awakening is often described as a profound shift in the way we relate to life itself. The awakened person still experiences joy and sorrow, success and failure, praise and criticism. The difference is that they are no longer imprisoned by these experiences. They flow through life without being completely defined by it. Imagine standing beside a river. The water is constantly moving, yet the river does not struggle against its own nature. In the same way, wisdom allows us to live within change without demanding that change stop. As understanding deepens, the heart becomes lighter. Old resentments lose their power. Many fears begin to dissolve. The constant need to control every outcome gradually softens. What remains is a quiet confidence rooted not in certainty about the future, but in trust that we can meet whatever comes with awareness and compassion. Perhaps this is the greatest gift of the Buddha's teaching. Not the promise of a perfect life, but the possibility of a free heart. A heart that can love without clinging, act without fear, and meet each moment with wisdom. And in that freedom we discover a peace far deeper than anything the changing world can offer. As this journey comes to a close, take a moment to reflect on the question that opened it. What does it mean to live fully before life ends? The Buddha's answer is both simple and profound. To live fully is not to collect more experiences, achieve more success, or gain more control over the future. It is to awaken to the life that is already here. So many people spend their years waiting for the perfect opportunity, waiting until they have more money, waiting until life becomes easier, waiting until they finally feel ready to be happy. But life is happening now. The conversation you are having today, the person you love, the breath moving in and out of your body, the ordinary moments that seem insignificant. These are not interruptions to life. They are life itself. One day, every possession will be left behind. Every title will disappear. Every achievement will become a memory. Even this body will eventually return to the earth. Yet this truth does not make life meaningless. It makes life precious. Because everything is temporary. Every act of kindness matters. Every opportunity to forgive matters. Every moment of presence matters. The Buddha taught that suffering begins when we cling to what cannot stay. But freedom begins when we learn to appreciate without possessing, to love without controlling, and to live without demanding certainty from an uncertain world. This is the heart of letting go. Let go of the need to have all the answers. Let go of the burden of carrying yesterday. Let go of the fear that life must unfold according to your plans before you can find peace. Trust this moment. Meet it with awareness. Meet it with compassion. Meet it with gratitude. And if you take nothing else from this message, remember this. You do not need a different life to begin living fully. You only need to become fully present for the life that is already yours. If this reflection spoke to your heart, take a moment to comment one below as a reminder that today you choose presence over distraction, wisdom over fear, and peace over endless striving. And don't forget to subscribe to Virtue Buddha's teachings to continue exploring the timeless wisdom of the Buddha and cultivating greater peace, clarity, and compassion in your daily life. May you be well. May you be peaceful. May you live this precious life fully, one mindful moment at a time. There is one final truth that the Buddha gently invites us to contemplate, a truth many people spend their entire lives trying to avoid. One day, this life will end. Not as a punishment, not as a tragedy unique to us, simply as the natural completion of a journey that began the moment we were born. Most of us live as though we have unlimited time. We postpone important conversations. We delay forgiveness. We wait for the perfect moment to follow what truly matters. We assume there will always be another day. Yet the Buddha repeatedly reminded his followers that uncertainty surrounds every human life. Tomorrow is never guaranteed. The future exists only as an idea in the mind. The only place life can ever be lived is here, in this present moment. Far from being a dark teaching, this understanding can be deeply liberating. When we remember that time is limited, we stop wasting so much energy on things that do not truly matter. The endless arguments, the need to be right, the obsession with status, the constant comparison with others, these begin to lose their grip. What starts to matter instead? A kind word spoken while there is still time, a relationship healed before it is too late, a moment of gratitude for an ordinary day, the courage to love openly, the willingness to forgive, the ability to sit quietly and appreciate the miracle of simply being alive. The Buddha did not teach people to fear death. He taught them to understand it. When death is ignored, life is often wasted. When death is understood, life becomes more vivid, meaningful, and precious. This is why true spiritual practice is not about escaping reality. It is about meeting reality completely. It is about waking up from the illusion that we have forever and realizing that every breath is a gift that will never come again in exactly the same way. So before this reflection ends, ask yourself honestly, if this year were your last, what would truly matter? What worries would you release? Who would you forgive? Who would you thank? What would you stop postponing? The answers to these questions often reveal the life your heart has been trying to live all along. If this message resonates with you, comment one below as a reminder to live more consciously, love more deeply, and waste less time on what does not truly matter. And if you would like more reflections on Buddhist wisdom, inner peace, and mindful living, subscribe to Virtue Buddha's teachings and continue this journey with us. May you walk forward with wisdom. May you walk forward with compassion. And may you never forget that this very moment is part of the precious life you have been given. Perhaps the deepest expression of a life well lived is not found in achievement, wealth, or recognition. It is found in compassion. As wisdom grows, we begin to realize that every person we meet is carrying invisible burdens. Every smile may hide a struggle. Every angry reaction may come from unseen pain. Every human being is moving through the same fragile reality of aging, loss, uncertainty, and change. This understanding softens the heart. Instead of constantly asking, "What can I gain?" we begin asking, "How can I help?" Instead of judging others so quickly, we become more patient. Instead of turning away from suffering, we learn to meet it with kindness. The Buddha called this karuna, or compassion, not pity, not feeling sorry for someone from a distance. True compassion is the courage to remain present when suffering appears. It is the willingness to listen, to understand, and sometimes simply to sit beside another person without trying to fix everything. A compassionate life is built from small moments, a gentle word when someone is hurting, a moment of patience instead of anger, a sincere act of generosity, a willingness to forgive. These actions may seem ordinary, but they create ripples that extend far beyond what we can see. In the end, people rarely remember how successful we were. They remember how we made them feel. They remember whether we were present, whether we cared, and whether our lives brought a little more light into the world. Perhaps this is one of the most beautiful lessons of the Buddha's teaching. A meaningful life is not measured by what we accumulate, but by the wisdom, kindness, and compassion we leave behind in the hearts of others. As we reach the end of this journey, perhaps the Buddha's message can be summed up in one simple truth. Life becomes lighter when we stop trying to hold what was never meant to stay. Everything changes. Every joy, every sorrow, every success, every challenge. The more we fight this reality, the more we suffer. The more we understand it, the more peace we find. To live fully is not to control life. It is to be present for it, to appreciate the people you love while they are here, to speak with kindness while you have the chance, to let go of resentment before it hardens the heart. The Buddha did not teach us to fear change. He taught us to awaken through it. Every ending reminds us to value the present moment. Every difficulty invites us to grow in wisdom. Every day offers a new opportunity to choose compassion over anger and understanding over judgment. So wherever you are in life right now, take a deep breath and remember, you do not need a perfect future to experience peace. Peace begins when you stop resisting reality and start embracing the life that is already in front of you. If this message resonated with you, comment 1 below as a reminder to live with greater awareness and gratitude. And don't forget to subscribe to Virtue Buddha's teachings for more reflections on karma, wisdom, mindfulness, and the timeless teachings of the Buddha. May your heart be peaceful, your mind be clear, and your path be guided by wisdom.